one of the things that I see with loan officers a lot, and I don't mean to pick on loan officers, I'm hoping people take nuggets from this and go, oh, do I do that? Maybe I could do that better. One thing that I think a lot of loan officers do is they're reluctant to reach out to either their borrower or their realtor when there's a problem. And I just gotta say that I actually went the opposite direction. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. So if there was a potential problem coming up, I would usually call my realtor, call my borrower. Look, I don't want to alarm you, but I just got word that this that I thought was going to be this way is this way. And the reason I would call them early is two reasons. One, it might be nothing and I can solve the problem and we're right back on track. No time was lost. If that's the case, and some people say, well, Tony, if you could just fix the problem, why would you even tell them? Well, here's why. Because it brings value to what I'm doing. There's a lot of potential challenges that can happen in the loan process. And if I never point out that there's ever any challenges, do I even bring any value? And so by pointing things out early, it actually helps you remind people that, oh, my loan officer is doing something. They're
He's
looking
an
out
expert
for me.
in this.
Yeah, exactly. So worst case scenario, I've shown them that I'm aware of a potential issue. I'm working on solving it. I solved it. Whew, thank God. No delay, no problem. But if it does become a bigger problem, I told them early. And to your point, the problems are going to happen, but it's how you communicate them that matters. And if you brought it up early, and then it does become a bigger problem, at least you were ahead of it. Everyone's aware of it. And you say, hey, bad news, worst case scenario here. I thought this might be the case, but here's the solution I've come up with. You can still come up with a solution and you can solve their problem. But and then at that point, they're like, oh, well, gosh, are we going to need more time? They might even ask you, do I need to get an extension on this? Versus you hide everything from everybody, acting like there's no problems going on. And then you get to the very end and you realize you need an extension. And then they're like, what do you mean you need an extension? We're a week before closing. Like that. What's going on? Now they lose all trust and confidence in you when there was a better way of handling it. So I would just, and I've seen so many loan officers do this. They just, either they want to be the hero by not saying anything, like there's no problems, which I don't know why there's no value in doing that, in my opinion, because closing a loan there's challenges. So let's talk about it and let's be open about it. And then solve those challenges and then communicate that the problem was solved, or it doesn't get solved and then you just look like you kept it from everybody, which you did, turns out.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
And you have to, like you said, the value, there's a reason why they're paying a loan officer to do this and they're not going online with some online company that there's no person behind it, right? Yeah. And that's where I guess I come from is that, know your craft. If there's a problem, maybe you need to find a different type of loan. Maybe it needs to go FHA now instead of conventional or the opposite, right? And that's where you get to play that role in there and say, hey, we might have to make a change here, but here's what my solution is. I could still save the deal. And now you look, valued to that realtor. You didn't lose the deal. You might have just delayed it a day or two.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Well, and look, I mean, there really is no push button, get mortgage. I mean, great marketing slogan.
Yeah, right.
Great marketing tagline. But I don't care what company it is, there's things that need to get, processed through a loan, and any one of them could cause a little hiccup if it doesn't, turn out the way that you thought it was going to. So be super proactive with your communication. You make a really good point about the dates and the timelines. I was a loan officer. I didn't even look at the calendar. I didn't think about it. This is probably an area where I was very overly optimistic, right? It would be the middle of the month. So it's, hey, can you close this deal by the end of the month? I'm like, sure, no problem. That's fine. No problem.
No problem.
We'll make it work. But, we got to slow down. We got to look at the calendar and know exactly what we're up against.
Yeah. And just like anyone out there, we can always do things in a pinch and a rush.
Sure.
And that's what you have me around for, to help push things, right? But, if everything's a rush, nothing's a rush.
Right.
You know that, right? And so, and also we value our ops team. We can't expect them to work night and day every day of the week.
Right.
Right.
Well, I think
we want to get it done, you know, and they feel just as vested, believe me, in talking to them. They're like, no, I want to work on this. I want to get it done for them.
Well, I think we've got used to maybe pipelines not being as full.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, well, they have time for it, or whatever the case may be. I expect pipelines to build, again, I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but we're going to get into a busier season, more busier than we've been the last couple of years. And so this stuff is going to become more and more important. My favorite analogy is that, every car on the road can't be an ambulance, right?
Yeah. There you go.
It doesn't work, right? You gotta be able to make room when the ambulance needs to come through, and that's what a rush should be. It should be occasional, but it should be able to move when it needs to.